In this video, I'll describe the decomposition of agents that we are using for the Supply Chain Management League 2020 this year. Please note that you don't really need to use this decomposition. You can still just override callbacks on your agent and develop your agent as a single monolithic thing. Or you can use a different decomposition of the agents. But we used the composition that we are describing for all of the built-in strategies. I will use the documentation of the Supply Chain Management League repository for this tutorial, and I'll put a link to it in the description. So that's the documentation. We can just go to the tutorials here and developing an agent for HTML. I highly recommend that you go through these tutorials because it will make you familiar with the development environment. And the important thing here is this part, the agent anatomy. So I'll spend this video speaking about this agent anatomy. We decided to divide the agent strategy for Supply Chain Management League into three main components. So here you can see these three components. The trading strategy, this is responsible of deciding what are the needs of the agent, what should it buy, and what should it sell at every step. There are different types of trading strategies that are implemented in the system, and of course you can add new strategies. There is also a negotiation control strategy, which decides everything related to negotiation. This can be decomposed further into two parts: the negotiation manager, which decides what negotiation should I engage in, and the negotiation algorithm, which decides what should I offer and accept in each negotiation. Finally, you have the production strategy that decides what should you produce and when. So for each one of these strategies, we have a common way of documenting it. So let's just check, for example, the trading strategy. Okay, so that's a trading strategy. And let's check a specific type of trading strategy. For example, prediction-based trading strategy. This trading strategy defines what it needs in your agent, what it expects, and what it provides to the agent. For each one of our strategies, you will find these sections. The first section is attributes. Attributes are things that you can pass to initialize this strategy during the init method call when you construct your agent. If there are no parameters for the strategy, for example, in this case, there are no parameters for this strategy, you will not find an attribute section. Second, it provides. This section tells you what does this strategy provide for other parts of the agent. So what are the components that this strategy is providing for other components? Requires, what it expects in the agent. Abstract is it describes what are the abstract methods that this strategy defines, and any new strategy based on it will have to implement these abstract methods. Hooks into and overrides are similar concepts. So each strategy can either hook into any callback of the agent, which means it gets this callback, it does something, then it calls super on it, which allows other strategies to also run. Or it can completely override it. In this case, it means that when it gets this callback, it prevents anyone else after it in the MRO from executing. So in this case, for example, this strategy, it hooks into init, which means it allows other agents to have their own init function, and on contract finalized, sign all contracts, and on agent bankrupt. So these are the parts of the agent that this strategy needs to handle, but it allows other strategies to handle them as well. Okay. For example, to see an example of overriding this sign all possible strategy. This strategy will sign all contracts that are possible in principle to honor. So it overrides sign all contracts. Notice that it doesn't hook into it, it overrides it, which means that If you have other strategies that are using this callback, they will not work. In general, you should hook into anything that starts with on, any callback that starts with on, for example, on agent bankrupt, and you should override anything that doesn't start with on. The only exception are init and step. These are callbacks that you should also hook into. You should not override these two callbacks when you are developing your own components. Okay, so we go back to the tutorials, developing the agent, and that describes the three main, the general structure of all the strategies. For each one of these strategies, you will find that there are common things that they provide. For example, all trading strategies, here I'm just looking at the trading strategy base class, and all of them provide inputs needed, outputs needed, input secured, and output secured. You can also notice that, for example, all negotiation control strategy will need inputs secured and output secured because they will update it. Okay. I recommend that you spend some time familiarizing yourself with existing strategies, and that will allow you to develop your own strategies that can work in harmony with existing strategies. So you can focus on the part of the agent that you are willing to add a contribution to. Thank you.